Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli back with another review video, and yes, as I teased in the last review of the next MCU film that I'd be reviewing, yep, now we've come to the sequel to Ant-Man. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yes. And I think, I really enjoyed this more than the first Ant-Man film. Now, don't get me wrong, even as I talked about the first Ant-Man film when I reviewed the first Ant-Man film, go check it out. I'm not saying I didn't hate the first Ant-Man film. It's good, I enjoyed it when I first saw it, and yeah. But I don't know, because I really like the sequel a lot more. I don't know, usually sequels could be better than the first film, with the first Guardians film still amazing, and with its sequel, turned out to be really good, too, so, and the same thing with, the first Ant-Man film and the second one, now titled Ant-Man the Wasp, so, yeah. Anyways, so the story, come to the story. Scott Lang is grappling with the consequences of his choices as both a superhero and a father. Approached by Hope Van Dyne and Dr. Hank Pym once again, once again the cast back for this: Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, if I'm saying her first name right or wrong, and Michael Douglas. They're of course back. So Hope Van Dyne and her father, Dr. Hank, must once again don the Ant-Man suit and fight alongside the Wasp. The urgent mission soon leads to the secret revelations from the past as the dynamic duo finds itself in an epic battle against a powerful new enemy, which being the Ghost. So, wasn't really familiar, sometimes, in the Marvel films, I'm not really familiar with, who would first appear in the Marvel films, but thanks to the Marvel movie, I've said this before, the Marvel films, help me, know these characters, and of course, I should know, these characters, say, the Ghost, have appeared in the comics, but just weren't really familiar with them until, the movies happen, and, and the same thing goes with, say, Moon Knight. I had no idea who Moon Knight was until the show happened, so, as I stated when I reviewed Moon Knight. But anyways, so yeah. Another thing is Scott, aka Ant-Man, because after what happened in Captain America Civil War, well, he, along with Clint, aka Hawkeye, they did go back to their homes and with their families, but they were put under house arrest. So for 2 years, for both Scott and Clint. Yep. And after the events of Ant-Man the Wasp, and, because of what happened at the airport, as we all know and remember. And I gotta tell you, this movie had some great funny moments to it, some serious moments, as any Marvel film would have. Funny and serious and emotional moments and so on. And the cast was great, again, Paul Rudd and so on, and Michael Pena, Lewis, he's back, of course. Everybody's, he's, one of the fan favorites. And this time, we do get the appearance of Hope's mother, Janet. Yep. And Janet being played by Michelle Pfeiffer. Good choice. She was fantastic. Knowing, what happened to her and, supposedly, I think, the first movie kind of said that maybe she died, but no, she survived in the quantum realm, further into the quantum realm. And that's when, Scott, he's, having dreams, had a vision, a dream of Janet and so on. And even, say, Janet, passing messages and from Scott to them, to his daughter and to her daughter and husband, you know. Also, because, you know, with also the return of Cassandra, once again played by Abby Ryder Forston, if I'm saying the last name right, and also Bobby, who once again plays Paxton, and Judy Greer as Maggie. I stated this before, I didn't like them in the first film, but the second film, yeah, they were much better, you know, especially because, like, you know, they're just, like, going in for a group hug, and, like, I don't know, they kind of upset over the CIA, like, you know, you have no respect, as Maggie says. So they were fine in this. Like, it didn't bother me. They were okay, as I just said. So, and that's another thing, too. Randall Park is, you know, he makes his MCU debut as Jimmy Woo, and as we all know, a couple years later, Jimmy would come back in WandaVision. So, you know, and I think I liked Jimmy a lot more, like, say, when he was in WandaVision. And that's not too bad, you know. Also, the rest of, you know, Scott's, like, business, like, partners, you know, alongside with Lewis, like, you know, there was, you know, Kurt and Dave? Yeah, Dave, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, funny, of course, as usual. And, you know, the van that they have with that tune, da-da-da-da-da, yeah. We don't hear it that much. I think we just only hear it 2 times. It's, like, near the end of the film, kind of, so, you know. And then there's also the ghost, Ava Starr, played by Hannah John Kamen, if I'm saying that right. Yeah, she was pretty good. And the problem is, like, Ava having this problem, like, forming and, like, you know, ghosting, or, you know, and even, like, can, like, go through you or something like that. Even, like, say, when she had Hank Pym held hostage, like, you know, by the neck and so on. Jeez, that was shocking to see. And also, like, and then another thing is, like, between her and this one guy, Sonny Birch, like, trying to get their hands on Hank Pym's equipment and the lab, because it's pretty funny, like, Hank Pym, you know, shrinks and, like, enlarges, you know, a giant building, and, like, even has it on wheels, and, like a suitcase with the handle. It's hilarious. So, Sonny Birch played by Walton Goggins, yeah. Between him and Ava, like, trying to get their hands on the, on Hank's equipment and so on, and, as I just said, and for Ava, well, because basically just wanting to be cured, you know, because of the pain and so on. And no, I guess, like, when you realize and, like, think of it, like, she's not, like, just being a villain, you know, for the heck of it. She all she wants is to just be cured, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's all she wants. Even, like, if she was to do this, like, well, there might have been a risk of, you know, because of Janet being in the quantum realm, like, it could kill her or something like that, you know? But yeah, some of the funny moments in this, like, well, like, one where they're trying to, the machines, like, the machine to start up the quantum realm and to go in the quantum realm, like, at one point it's not really working, but that, like, Scott, like, out of nowhere, like, Janet comes into Scott, like, and then, like, you know, gives it more juice, and, like, Janet taking over Scott's body and just, like, you know, saying, like, touching Dr. Pym's face, like, you know, hi, honey, and, you know, jelly bean. That's so hilarious. And funny moments between Hank and Scott, definitely. Not to mention, like, Scott kind of having, like, suit malfunctions from being big and shrinking, especially when the old Ant-Man suit that was used, like, Scott had hidden it in what her daughter gave her, like, you know, like, say, people would, like, have, say, like, like trophies at stores, like say best mom, best dad, that kind of stuff. Well, with that, it's, you know, the only one that you know, Cassandra could find was, you know, best grandma. Pretty funny. So he hid it in the trophy, and like he has to like get into school to find it, even disguising himself as a kid, like, you know, and even like say Hank Pym kind of giving Scott a hard time, like, you know, hiya chap, how was school? That was pretty funny. Oh yeah, and a moment where Lewis is like giving a backstory, just like how he did in the first film, like, yeah man, like from Scott and Hope, like, you know, talking and you know, they have the voice of Lewis, you know, those scenes, that's hilarious. That was hilarious right there. And oh yeah, and also another important character in this, Bill Foster, who was once partners with Hank Pym. You know, they worked at S.H.I.E.L.D., and they had a fallout, and Bill Foster, played by Lawrence Fishburne. Yep, and he's no stranger to doing comic book movie adaptations. We all remember he was in The Man of Steel, and, well, and I you know what, I almost forgot about this, and people seem to forget about this too, that he was the voice of the Silver Surfer in Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, while Doug Jones, he was the body, you know, performance of Silver Surfer, you know. So Lawrence Fishburne did do something Marvel, and even before he did something DC, and thus he was the voice of Silver Surfer. That's pretty cool. And, you know, even like, say, Bill Foster, he kind of is helping Ava, aka the Ghost, and there was that one moment where even like, say, the Ghost was going to threaten Scott by, like, you know, hurting his daughter, and, well, Bill Foster, like, he was telling her, like, if you lay one finger on her, it's over. Yeah, because he's not gonna go that far. He's not gonna let that happen. That's not what he signed up for. Yeah, even like, say, we get to know Ava's backstory, because her father worked on S.H.I.E.L.D. too, but he was disqualified, and he proceeded on what he worked on, you know, on his own, and something happened, and it caused Ava to, well, have this pain, and, like, you know, what I said, you know, ghosting, and, like, you know, that, you know what I said. So that word slipped out of my head. I don't know. Some really cool, and, you know, some really cool action sequences also, and especially two cameos in this movie. We all know, of course, a cameo from Stan Lee, because at one point his car accidentally gets shrunken, and it's hilarious, you know, and, you know, well, the 60s were good, but now I'm paying for it. However he said it, that was pretty funny. And I even, like, I did recently watch this, and I still missed out on this. Was it a deleted scene? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but there was a cameo from the original, like, the very first actor who played Ant-Man, who was a black actor, and he played Ant-Man, I want to say, in the early 80s or late 70s, somewhere, like, between them, like, I don't know, but yeah, so he's in there, so good for him. But anyways, like, even say Lewis, like, he's driving a small, like, tiny car that, you know, because there's also the devices where you, like, enlarge something. Even, like, say, Hope at one point enlarged Lewis's Hello Kitty Pez dispenser. That was funny. And even, like, Lewis saying, "You got Pezzed!" That was funny. And even say Scott, once again, turning into Giant Man and getting into the ocean, and even kind of at one point making the look, like, the shape of a whale's tail. That was hilarious. And even say, oh yeah, because Scott, like, Hope and Hank, they, like, managed to get Scott out of the house and his, you know, like, bracelet off. Like, not bracelet, you know, that thing for, like, under house arrest or anything like that. They got it off his ankle. And it was put on like a giant ant. You know, that giant ant it was hilarious. Like doing the things that Scott does, like, I don't know, taking a bath and watching TV and playing drums. Yeah, of course, like, and also to speed things up, because, well, you know, Hank, he's the one that goes into, you know, find and bring back his wife, and which makes sense, and you know, more fights going on between the Ghost and Hank and Hope. And, of course, eventually, yeah, with, you know, Janet coming back and reunites with her daughter and finally meets Scott in person, although they kind of technically met, you know. She was passing the messages to him to, you know, her daughter and husband, so. And Janet manages to cure Ava, and, yeah, I even say, you know, Ava realized that she was hurting others. I mean, she probably, like, she didn't mean to, because all she wanted was just to, you know, make this pain end. You know, you could just see it, like, just her suffering, and, like, she could be close to dying. And, again, Janet saved her life, so. And with that, and her being part of Thunderbolts. So, yeah. Anyways, so, like, all ends well for Ava and Bill, because Bill, like, remains with Ava to help her and so on. And the epilogue, because, you know, everything, all ends well for all the characters. Scott is no longer under house arrest, and seems like, yeah, Hank and Janet, they have found a peaceful, nice place to live, like, out in the beach, and, like, Hank, you know, enlarges a house. That's funny. And even say one last scene where they shrunken down, you know, Hope and Scott and Scott's daughter, Cassie, and watching a movie. And it's that, what's that black and white film called with the giant insect? I can't remember. And, of course, like, a moth kind of on top of their car, moth dust. That's pretty funny. I also like how the end credits, that's, like, mini, like, figures, you know, of, like, what happened in the movie. Like, it's pretty cool. Well done. Well done, Marvel. Be so creative doing the end credits. Yeah, that's most important. And 2 end credit scenes that tie directly into Infinity War. Yeah, because, well, you know, Scott was, like, checking out something in the quantum realm, and, you know, they were gonna pull him back in 5, 4, 3, and then something happens, like, goes, like, you know, like, static and so on, and we cut back, like, you know, we see, like, Scott's eyes, and, like, you know, ha ha, that's really funny, and we see, like, what's happening, and we see, they turn to dust. The blip happened, and, Hank, Hope, and Janet, all the 3 of them, they turned to dust, but Scott, he survived in the quantum realm, and, the last end credit scene, well, because on the TV, you know, because the blip happened, and, you know, this is not a test, you know, that. And we see the giant ant playing the drums again. And then it's crazy, because it's just like, oh my gosh, when it says, Ant-Man and the Wasp will return, ? Oh my gosh. But of course they do, so, you know. Man, I tell you, what a way to end that film. For sure. And, of course, as we all know, we would see them again in Avengers Endgame. You know, not to mention that both Paul Rudd and Lily, they were doing both Avengers Endgame and Ant-Man and the Wasp at the same time. So, you know, they did it like a boss. You know, did a really good job on that. But anyways, so Ant-Man and the Wasp, it's a really good sequel, fantastic. And as I said, I really enjoy this, and not to say that, again, I stated this on what I said about the first Ant-Man film, and with this. So, there you go. Definitely, I'm giving Ant-Man and the Wasp a 10 out of 10, definitely. It had some hilarious moments, good emotional stuff, of course. I remember, like, one other, like, funny moment with one of Sonny's henchmen, like, you know, it's not true serum, but then he realizes it was true serum. That was pretty funny. But anyways, and what about you guys? What did you think of Ant-Man and the Wasp? And what did you think of my review? Leave comments, and give this review a like as always. So with that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Ant-Man and the Wasp. More reviews coming your way. They're gonna be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I'll see you guys in the next video / review. And stay tuned later tonight because gonna be reviewing something else fantasy. And let's just say this was Warwick Davis's big starring role, thanks to Lucas. You probably know what I'm talking about. So stay tuned for that. And so again, thanks for watching. And until Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, take care, peace out, and Avengers, assemble.